Hello and welcome everyone to American Solar Energy Society's first ever virtual membership meeting. We're so happy that you could join us today. I am Carly Rixum, ASES's Executive Director, and it's been my honor to serve as the Executive Director for the past decade. As we're settling in, we encourage you to pop your name and city in the chat so we can hear where everyone's coming from today. We are broadcasting live here from our headquarters in Boulder, Colorado, and joined by my team members as well as members across the country. I first want to acknowledge that we are on the land of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, and other tribes who have been scientists and stewards, taking care of this land for many generations. And over the millennia, civilizations have worshipped the sun as a source of power and strength. And our work here at ASES really isn't much different than that. We're utilizing the sun's energy to fuel our lives, to energize us. Here at ASES, our mission is to accelerate the equitable solar adoption, educating community, building community, and fostering a universal, sustainable living society. We do that through our programs, and we're so happy to have you as our members to help support us in our programs. And we want you to engage in our programs, such as our upcoming National Solar Conference, Solar 2024, May 20th to 23rd in Washington, D.C. Also, our National Solar Tour every October, our quarterly magazine, Solar Today, webinars just like this one, as well as trainings, scholarships, our mentorship program, many ways to fulfill our mission. So we are just so excited that we've recently been awarded an EPA grant to deploy solar on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. Our zero emissions network, led by Sarah Towns, our CFO and Zen director, is going to be working hand in hand with tribal leaders to make an impact on our First Nations. We'll be building solar dome homes and providing clean energy. We have an extremely talented all-female staff that's joined me here today. I mentioned Sarah Towns, our CFO and Zero Emissions Network Zen Director, or Zen Master, as we like to call her. Ella Nielsen, our Programs Director, and Kat Friedrich, our Solar Today Editor-in-Chief. We're also supported by our new salesperson, Victor Fillion, who we affectionately refer to as our solar evangelist. So if you get a chance to meet Victor, you'll be a better person for it. We also have Sunshine Urbaniak, who is our creative director, or our brand police, as we like to call her. So we couldn't do the work that we do without volunteers like you. Our volunteers are the lifeblood of our organization. We are led by an all-volunteer board of directors, chaired by Ben Luce. Karen Soares is our vice chair. Tom Thompson is our treasurer. Dara Bortman, our secretary. Also, other fabulous board members, Abraham Ellis, Robert Foster, Samson Howe, Sydney Munoz, Mary Ellen Barker, Debbie Coleman, David Ginley, and Henry Vandermark, who is our fundraising chair and also will be joining us today. So this year marks ASES's 70th anniversary. So I wanted to share a little history of our solar society. It was in 1952 that the silicon solar cell was invented and quickly gaining interest in the energy charts. And It was at this time that Farrington Daniels, a generous, ingenuitive, young visionary, realized that we needed a society to help advance this budding solar industry. In 1952, he met Henry Sargent, and together with some other gentlemen, they founded the Association for Applied Solar Energy. They filed the Articles of Incorporation on December 24th, 1954, a great Christmas present. And that was in the state of Arizona. That stated in the bylaws were to foster and encourage the research, deployment, application, and education in the fields of solar and other energies. It was a fertile time for solar. The environmental movement was growing, as was the rise of OPEC and the subsequent oil warfare. There was also a lot of interest in solar PV for the space energy program. So there's a lot of excitement happening. Fast forward 16 years, and the Association for Applied Solar Energy moved to Australia, and also changed its name to the International Solar Energy Society to reflect its expanding solar nature. At this time, the folks remaining stateside also became the American section of the International Solar Energy Society, and operated out of the Smithsonian Radiation Biology Laboratory in the Smithsonian building, known as the Castle in Washington, D.C. In 1982, the board of directors voted to change our name to the American Solar Energy Society, and we moved to our headquarters city in Boulder, Colorado, where we leased space at the University of Colorado. And looking out my south window here, I can see the university on the hill. So to say the rest is history greatly glosses over the amazing work done by our members like you, and misses some really important contributions. 7 decades of research, scientific papers, 52 national solar conferences, 36 years of Solar Today magazine, and 28 national solar tours. But it hasn't always been a successful journey. There's been a lot of challenges along the way, such as financial strain, navigating a divisive landscape, going up against big fossil fuel money. So we don't do things because they're hard, because they're easy, rather. We do things because they're hard. And one of the awesome things about the solar energy industry is that we're full of disruptors. Disruption is how we create change. So disruptive can also be, well, disruptive, but we face our challenges every day and we're better for it. You know, I was thinking about what is really hard. You know what's really hard? Looking at the sun is really hard to do. And speaking of, we've got a solar eclipse coming up in just 2 weeks on April 8th. And in honor of the eclipse, ASES is having a fundraiser. We are trying to raise $10,000 to support our work. We've had an anonymous donor come forward and offered to match the first $25,000 of money that we raise dollar for dollar before the eclipse on April 8th. So we ask your support today. ases.org/donate, put it in the chat, and support our work now more than ever. Have your donation matched. Now is the time. So to wrap up, ASES and you, our members, have been directly responsible for a great majority of advances in the solar industry in the past 70 years. And we need your support today more than ever. So today we face new challenges. Our focus is still the same as it was in 1954, to support and foster the development, deployment, research, and education of solar energy. So what will the next 70 years look like? Well, it's up to us. It's up to you. We know for a fact that solar energy is a critical solution to the detrimental effects of climate change. Together, we can solve our world's most challenging problems. Like we like to say, the solution comes up every morning. Together, we can create a cleaner, brighter future. So thank you very much, and try not to look directly at the sun. And now it brings me great joy to introduce to you our keynote speaker, Nico Johnson of Suncast. Now, Nico gave me a whole list of things not to say in my introduction of him from his bio. But he did want me to say that in the 20 years he's been in the industry, he has started many companies that have failed. And Nico identifies as a solar warrior. And I love that because we're all fighting the good, clean fight. Nico has 20 years of experience developing solar markets for internationally recognized organizations. He's had a front row seat, or front line, as he likes to put it, observing and contributing to the clean energy revolution as the world transitions away from fossil fuels. He's an entrepreneur that has been involved in almost every aspect of the solar industry, from training to deployment, including being integral in bringing megawatts of solar online. He served as a key team member, investor, and advisor to a variety of industry startups. These days, he spends his time producing Suncast podcast, which has chronicled the journey of over 600 solar executives and founders, sharing insight on how and where to grow your career and influence the clean energy industry. Nico is also fluent in Spanish. Nico, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome.
It is my distinct honor and pleasure. Hey, look, I can turn my video on now. Thanks. Appreciate that. And I want to start by saying, first of all, happy anniversary or happy birthday to ASES. I probably have folks in the audience that I've known for years, and there are countless hundreds, maybe thousands of ASES members who have no clue who I am. So I wanted to first give you a quick introduction and reference. I started a small solar company in 2006 because Arnold Schwarzenegger declared that he wanted 1 million solar roofs in California. And somewhere around 2008, 2009, I actually joined the board of NorCal Solar. And I remember the formative event that was ASES 2008 in San Diego, how it catapulted my career and helped me believe in this industry more than I already had for 2 years trying to start a solar installation business in Monterey, California. And, you know, a lot of you probably are familiar with my podcast. Perhaps you've listened to the Suncast podcast, one of our nearly 700 episodes, or you've seen me speak at an event. But if you haven't listened to any of the episodes that recount my actual story, it really does come back to the core belief that the sun can generate all of our power needs. And as a Peace Corps volunteer, I saw so many folks in and throughout Latin America that didn't have access to running water, let alone electricity, and it seemed impossible to me, the concept that we wouldn't begin like cell phones did to leapfrog existing infrastructure with renewables and solar, and it seemed the most obvious way all those years ago. Um, we all have faced what feels like a story of mythical proportions. Um, and so we're going to talk a bit about that today. I promise I won't take the 60 to 90 minutes that a typical Suncast episode takes, because that's not what you guys showed up for. 70 years ago, since ASES was founded in the same year as you pointed out, that Bell Labs patented its solar cell, which operated at, as you may recall, then practically unheard of 6% efficiency. We have been on this journey to open the world's eyes to the reality that we can harness renewable energy from the sun, the wind, the tide, the heat exchange of our Earth's core. 70 years since someone took the initiative to say, we should probably do something with this technology. So again, thank you, Ella and Carly. Also, thanks Mary Ellen Barker for the opportunity to be on this in this session with you guys today. I'm a fan of quotes. If you've ever listened to the Suncast podcast, then I always start out by acknowledging that I'm a self-professed quote hoarder. I want to thank our team member Aaron Nichols, who helped me find 2 quotes that I want to read for you today. I think they're helpful in considering what we're all here about. The first is from Joseph Campbell. It says, "The world is full of stories. From birth to death, we're all living out our own mythologies." The second is from an even older philosopher, Rumi. It says, "Don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth." It wasn't that long ago that our renewable energy future really did seem like a myth. I mentioned I started a solar company in 2006 back in Monterey, California. I was then fresh out of B school. Mentors, friends, business colleagues looked at me with a bit of a slanted eye. It seemed that the solar industry just wasn't big enough. I was meant to find a bigger niche, one that could potentially be $1 trillion industry. But we all believed in that myth. We lived it out. And every day, slowly but surely, it started to become a reality. This is why I constantly do harp to anyone who will listen about the power of storytelling, because everything starts with storytelling. And then those stories that we tell ourselves become the stories that we tell others. And those become the ways that we have tangibly affected the world around us. In our information saturated age, business leaders won't be heard unless they're telling great stories. People are attracted to stories because we're social creatures. We relate to other people, so it's no surprise. Humans have been communicating through stories for upwards of 20,000 years, back when our flat screens were cave walls. Now, a question that most people ask either privately or publicly when I meet them in person, they'll say, "Nico, that's fine. You've been doing this for a long time, and you seem to have this gift for being on camera, or all of that is hogwash. It just takes practice." I'm joining you today not from my professional studio, but from my kitchen table, because that's where most solar has been sold. I'm joining using a headset to remind you that you don't need a big professional setup. I am using a professional camera because it is the closest thing I could get my hands on. But it's important to remember that there are core elements of how to prepare your story and present it to the world that don't have to do with your camera or your microphone or even your computer at all. You start with a message. Every storytelling exercise should begin by asking, who is my audience and what is the message that I want to share with them? Each decision about your short story then flows from those questions. You have to settle in on your ultimate message before you can really begin to craft that story. So as Dale Carnegie says, you got to start with the end in mind. Then you can figure out the best way to illustrate the thing that you want to convey. I encourage you to develop a story bank of your own. That is one of the key ways that a company like Suncast Media is able to cultivate a culture internally of constant storytelling, and we're able to generate a lot of content, as it were. It is because we're constantly looking for the underlying story, the underlying message that communicates not just the how, the technical aspect, but the why. We believe that the clean energy revolution is upon us. It's not something we're looking to the future for. It is right now. As such, you can mine your own experiences and those of your team. The best storytellers use their own memories and life experiences to illustrate their messages. What events in your life, your day-to-day business, your experiences on the job, or the customers you're selling to or installing projects for actually make you believe that the idea you want to try share is a relevant piece of commentary? I like to prompt clients as well to think of a moment in which your failures have led to success, either in your personal life, your business endeavor. Any of these things can be interesting emotional entry points. And I want to repeat that. Any of these, and especially our failures, are interesting emotional entry points to a story. While there may be a tendency not to want to share your personal details, especially at work, anecdotes that illustrate struggles and failures, barriers overcome, are what make leaders appear authentic and accessible. And if you've been paying attention to our friend Brene Brown, who is a professor and author out of Texas, she's demonstrated that the key is to show vulnerability. But I'll warn you, a lot of folks take storytelling as an opportunity to shine light on themselves. And they think that building a platform or a personal brand is about telling the world who you are and what you stand for. Don't make yourself the star of the story. Your story needs to be relatable. So whenever possible, endeavor to make the audience or employees the hero of the story you want to tell. It increases engagement and willingness to buy in to the message that you want to convey. Remember, it really ultimately is not about you. And as we seek to engage homeowners, business owners, utility executives, and enroll them into the narrative we've all bought into, many of us for decades, we have to turn the focus on how it benefits them and how folks can truly feel like people like us do things like this. And as we cross the chasm to folks that are less willing to take technological risk, good news is that we can communicate how the technological risk of the last 50 plus years has all but been eliminated, especially with solar photovoltaic products. You know, one of the main reasons that we listen to stories is to create a deeper belief in ourselves. So when the storyteller talks about how great they are, the audience tends to shut off. So focus your story on how you see the audience or how the audience should see themselves. I do want to encourage you again to highlight a struggle. A story without a challenge simply isn't very interesting. Good storytellers understand that a story needs conflict. Was there a competitor that needed to be bested, a market challenge that you had to overcome, a change-resistant industry, hello utilities, that your organization helped transform? Don't be afraid to suggest the road ahead is going to be difficult. Humans actually like to be told that it's going to be hard. A well-crafted story embedded with a rallying cry means that you don't necessarily have to demand the change or effort you seek from your audience. The right people are going to want to become your partners, your customers in change because they want to be part of the journey. But please keep it simple. Not every story you tell has to be a surprising, edge of your seat epic. Some of the most successful and memorable stories are relatively simple and straightforward. Don't let needless details detract from the core message. Work from the principle that less is more. You've probably seen us on LinkedIn or elsewhere, and you'll see others testing with the length of a social media post or the length of a video. It is important to try to engage where your audience is from an attention perspective, but we all live in a 6-second attention world. Truly, less is more. Transporting your audience with a few interesting, well-placed details like how you felt in a specific moment, the expression on a face, the humble beginnings of a now great company can help immerse your listeners and drive home your message. And remember, practice makes perfect. Storytelling is an art form, and it requires repeated effort to get right. I encourage everyone to start with simple posts on places like LinkedIn, Twitter, even Facebook. Easy public domains to test your messaging. Where the rubber meets the road is when you do get in person with that senator or utility executive, community manager or homeowner. How you have practiced determines how you will show up. Anywhere you can gauge and test the reaction or feedback to the message that you want to communicate is for me open season. But I see so many who want to lean on or co-opt the influence of another platform in lieu of doing the day-to-day blocking and tackling that is storytelling and engaging on social media. You know, you want to work up the courage to post more vulnerable and emotion driven stories because, as I said before, that is the entry point. It's the pathway, the gateway, not to the head, but to the heart. Stories, in fact, are the original viral tool. Trust me, for the extra 3 minutes that you spend encoding a leadership or industry focused communication into a story, whether that's on social media, in the boardroom, or in the kitchen, you're going to see returns that last for months, maybe even years. Storytelling may seem old-fashioned, like an old-fashioned tool today, and it is. That's exactly what makes it so powerful. Life happens in the narratives that we tell one another. A story can go where quantitative analysis is denied admission, our hearts. Data can persuade people, but it doesn't inspire them to act. To do that, you need to wrap your vision in a story that fires the imagination and stirs the soul. I'd like to close with a quote from a Harvard Business Review article on the power of storytelling. The most successful storytellers often focus listeners' minds on a single important idea, and they take no longer than a 30-second Super Bowl spot to forge that emotional connection. Whether you're an engineer working tirelessly to improve our PV technology or the way that we deliver it, a salesperson bringing clean energy to homes and businesses around our country, probably around the world, or an advocate championing the policy change we all know is needed to power this clean energy revolution, you are all storytellers at heart. We're not merely selling a product or a service. We are kindling a movement that is powered by the sun and fueled by our stories. Stories of innovation, resilience, and transformation. I'm honored to be on this journey with you and helping tell your stories from the front lines of the clean energy revolution. I want to thank you for having me here today with you, Solar Warriors. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd encourage you to follow along as through the Suncast podcast, I chronicle the stories of so many of you pioneering this energy transition. Carly, Ella, back to you.
Wow, thank you so much, Nico. That was powerful. Storytelling is indeed powerful. Great to have you. Now I'd like to turn it over to Ella Nielsen, our programs director, who's going to be giving an update on our ASES programs. Ella.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I wanted to thank you again, Nico. I cannot thank you enough for your time and for being an incredible keynote speaker today. I know you have to head out, but for everyone in the chat, please go comment to see if you would like Nico to host an Ask Me Anything session with you all. So please comment in the chat saying yes. And if we get enough folks to say yes, Nico kindly agreed to host one. So please, as I'm speaking, please make sure to go in the chat and hopefully we can get Nico to do an Ask Me Anything session in the future. Thank you again, Nico, and please be sure to check out the mysuncast.com. Awesome. All right. So for the rest of the membership meeting today, we will talk about our upcoming conference in May, the National Solar Tour, the Solar Today magazine, divisions and chapters, ASES finances, and talk about ASES fundraising updates and opportunities. And lastly, we'll have a Q&A, and we'd love to hear from you. Please be sure, the chat is also great. I know I just asked you to do that, but specifically for Q&A, please be sure to use the Q&A bar or button at the bottom. It's the feature right next to the chat. And that way we'll be doing that towards the end of the presentation. Overall, we want you to feel a sense of home with ASES. We are a welcoming community full of solar advocates and professionals. And the theme for our upcoming conference is connecting technology and policy. And so during the annual membership meeting, we will be discussing this theme and getting people excited about our organization and becoming more involved. All right, Solar 2024. So this will be taking place on May 20th through 23rd in Washington, D.C. at George Washington University and online. We are excited to have a great turnout for both in-person and virtual attendees. We have over 120 speakers, 30 plus sessions. We're so honored and excited to celebrate 16 awardees awardees and fellows at the awards banquet. Please be sure to join us there. It's on Wednesday, May 22nd. We have 3 NABCEP workshops that we'll be hosting throughout the conference. Sean White, who is in charge of NorCal Solar now and is an ASES member, he'll be instructing. We will have a Solar Advocacy Day, which I'll talk about in a few slides from now, our annual climate ride, and so much more. So we're very excited. We are so honored to have such an incredible lineup of speakers for this year, keynote speakers specifically. And there's a lot more, we're just on the screen here, but please be sure to check out the full lineup on ases.org/conference. But yeah, we have Jigar Shah, Rana Adib, Paul Pinsky. Here's some other keynote speakers on this next slide, Sandra Begay, Becca Jones-Albertus. Again, we are so excited, and most of them will be joining in person, so we cannot wait. Oops. And these are not all of them, but are technical session speakers as well. And so we're so honored to have such an incredible lineup of technical sessions as well. And we have 5 tracks that we'll be presenting on various topics. So we will be doing a pre-conference visit to Capitol Hill. It's called Solar Advocacy in Action. Essentially, the attendees will be gaining hands-on experience in solar advocacy or solar policy and advocacy. You'll discover your advocacy efforts can help shape a brighter future for our shared planet. We'll be doing a orientation webinar, so you guys won't be, so we'll be learning all of that beforehand, so you are prepared, and we'll be supporting the Clean Electricity and Transmission Acceleration Act while we're on Capitol Hill and talking to representatives and legislatures at the Capitol. So that will be taking place on Monday, May 20th from 8:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Moving on, you are invited to join us for our 4th annual climate ride in Washington, D.C. in May. It'll be taking place on Wednesday, May 20th at 6 p.m. You can either choose to do a 3.5-mile walk or a 17-mile bike ride. If you can't join in person, you're also welcome to register and do it with us virtually. And you are also welcome to support our mission by donating to our team's page through the QR code here as well. And yeah, thank you so much. Moving on with the conference, this is a report from last year's Solar 2023 attendee breakdown. And so you'll see that typically at the conference, we have educators, contractors, young professionals, students, policymakers, government officials, solar enthusiasts. We're really honored to have a very diverse group of people attending the conference, both in person and virtually. And lastly, with Solar 2024, we want attendees to take away a few action items. As many may know, the major presidential election this year is taking place on Tuesday, November 5th, and it is so important to vote for the renewable energy champions. And so that's a huge takeaway that we want people to know. And then another goal is to excite everyone about the many ways you can be a part of the continuing just, equitable transformation to 100% renewable energy. We want you to motivate everyone, your friends, your network, your family, to even just take little steps to use your voices to influence your community, state and federal leaders to make policy decisions that will make a difference. Awesome. So National Solar Tour, it'll be taking place on October 4th through 6th this year. That will be our in-person showcase weekend. However, any in-person and tour or in-person and virtual tours can take place all throughout the year. Signups are open, and essentially the National Solar Tour is the largest annual grassroots solar and sustainable living event. And it's an event that is a collection of local tours, and in addition to independent tour sites across the country that feature solar and sustainable technologies, so that this can be homes, churches, businesses, schools, community spaces, anyone or anything that features solar and sustainable features. The National Solar Tour is a perfect opportunity for local sustainable enthusiasts to come together and share their unique stories with others in promoting solar adoption and sustainable upgrades. And so feel free to use the QR code on your phone to sign up today. And the ASES and the National Solar Tour team constantly strive to improve the program and participant experience. And so as such, I'm so excited to share that this year we completely have a new and improved map. And so this brand new interface has a login functionality where you don't need passwords. So once you sign up, you just use your email, and that way you can sign up your tour. And if you need to make any edits, all you have to do is log back in just using your email. Again, no passwords, and you can make your changes directly to your tour site page. We invite you to actively participate in the 29th Annual National Solar Tour and join ASES in spreading the positive influence of solar energy and sustainability throughout all 50 states. Last year, thanks to All Points North Foundation, we had 50 states that were represented. In 2023, we had 20 chapters that participated in 10 middle schools participating in the National Solar Tour. So here's some fun photos of our solar middle school spotlights. We really emphasized having middle schools and students join us for the tour last year. And if you go to ases.org/solar-curricula right here, you'll see introductory solar videos, lesson plans, activities to do with students, and how to get solar on your school and more. But we were very grateful to have had All Points North Foundation help us with emphasizing solar middle schools on last year's tour. And please be sure to check out this webpage when you get a chance. Now I'll hand it off to Kat Friedrich, Editor-in-Chief of Solar Today. I will unshare my screen and let you take it away, Kat.
So can you hear me and see my slideshow here?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so here's an update on Solar Today. Here is a cover of Solar Today from one of our recent issues where we talked about behavior change. And I want to really emphasize that your input powers our publication. We have lively discussions of Solar Today via social media, in our online community. We gather feedback from our annual survey and from our online comments. We have an editorial board that you can join if you're interested. If you correspond with me, I can tell you more about that. We have office hours at our annual conference, and we also circulate calls for pitches every quarter. So here are our themes that we targeted so far in 2023 and 2024. We have our Minerals, Challenges, and Solutions theme from last September, our Solar Marketing and Environmental Behavior theme from December, our Clean Energy Jobs in the United States theme that is coming out this March. And then we have our upcoming open theme, which is open to a variety of topics in June. And then a theme on policy shaping the U.S. clean energy economy in September, and then a theme on solar for survival and resilience in December. So here are our most popular articles from 2023. Clean Energy Workforce Alliance targets ambitious goals, growing the number of female installers, advancing apprenticeship pathways to solar careers. As you can see, some of these are workforce-related articles. And then Deserts, Water, and Lithium, Indigenous Rights in the Energy Transition, Battery Minerals, is energy transition dependent on the DRC's cobalt, and an article on overhead solar transit. So our traffic to Solar Today's online front page has grown since 2022. It has gone up by close to, actually over a factor of 2. So I'd like to thank our regular contributors from 2023 through March 2024, Jill Clyburn, Julia McFay, Dave Renee, RMI, Joel Stronberg, and Sustainable Development Strategies Group. So here we have some testimonials from our readers. The quality and range of articles and useful information in the winter issue is outstanding and highly commendable. And Dara's article on energy efficiency is part and parcel of the solar transition is evergreen wisdom we mustn't overlook. Thank you all for the important work, said Andrew Stone from the New Mexico People's Energy Cooperative. So I'm not going to read this out in full, but you can see that Victor Fillion made a positive comment about the winter 2022 issue. He was excited about the quality of the publication, said that ASES does things right, and said kudos to us. Here's more testimonials. Let's see, one from Matt Calderon, Senior Vice President at Launch Squad, thanking us for the opportunity to contribute in it, saying that he enjoyed the editorial process. And finally, a comment that I passed on, which is that a media expert who reads the magazine said that we could raise the amount we are charging for the magazine by $10 per year per subscriber due to the quality improvements that have taken place in recent years. So I should also mention on that note, after inflation-related increases in the cost of shipping and printing and overall decline in magazine ad buys, which is across the print magazine industry, we want to put Solar Today back in the black financially in 2024 and are planning to raise the cost of membership by $5 per person per year this summer to help pay for our expenses, both for Solar Today and also other costs at ASES, like our operating expenses. We're also seeking further grants and advertising to support the work that we're already doing. If you're interested in sponsorships or ads, you can contact Victor Fillion at sales@ases.org. We have a new multimedia partnership with Jay Warmke of Blue Rock Station. He is producing insightful weekly takes at Solar News Weekly. He is an outspoken and creative data storyteller and a DIY-minded solar educator who completed a journalism degree, and he's also on the Solar Today editorial board. We're looking forward to collaborating with him to promote this video and audio news show on our distribution channels. So if you have comments on how we can improve our process, you can email me at kfriedrich@ases.org, and we welcome theme ideas, story pitches, ideas for the Policy Watch, Solar Living, and Student Perspective columns, etc.
Thank you, Pat. Wonderful job. I'd like to give a quick update now on ASES's chapters and divisions. So we have 39 total chapters, 14 of which are student chapters. And the ASES chapters are all independent organizations with their own memberships, dues structures, board of directors, visions, missions, and programs. Generally all 501c3 organizations. And collectively, they work together to achieve a broader vision of a stronger solar and renewable energy community while being responsive to local and regional challenges and opportunities. They provide opportunities for individuals to engage with the renewable energy landscape and their local community. So along with our anniversary this year, we've got a couple other chapters celebrating their anniversaries. NorCal Solar is celebrating its 50th anniversary, and the Mid-Atlantic Solar Energy Society is celebrating its 30th anniversary. Our chapters meet once a month over Zoom to connect and collaborate, share best practices on education and opportunities to build solar in their community. We also host a quarterly policy jam where we bring policy experts in and discuss ways to connect our work and improve the policy landscape. Moving on to our ASES technical divisions, we have 8 technical divisions, and our divisions bring together diverse members with similar interests to engage, educate, and grow the community through the exchange and information of ideas. So divisions outreach ensures that ASES programs are accurate and our publications are on par. Membership in any division is open to professional members, business members, and student members and life members. So please join us on the online community, community.ases.org, and connect with people with similar interests as you and start up a story. So our divisions are listed here. We have photovoltaics, solar buildings, solar thermal, grid modernization, energy economics, sustainability, policy, and resource applications. I'm going to share now a video of one of the divisions, the PV division, who has been putting together some webinars recently. And we're grateful to Rich Stromberg for putting this together.
Rich Stromberg, the Vice Chair of the Photovoltaic Technical Division at ASES. If you haven't yet joined our division, here's what you're missing. The easiest way to maximize performance of an existing array is to keep an eye on it. Much as we would like for solar arrays to be set it and forget it, the technology isn't quite at that level. We advise system owners to at least check their production meter or their inverter display or their web portal once a month to look for any drop or stop in energy output not expected based on the season or the weather. Optimizing the performance of existing systems is low-hanging fruit. We want current and soon-to-be system owners to understand the importance of quality and reliability of their components rather than simply buying the lowest priced array. For existing system owners, we encourage participation in office hours during quarterly webinars to share observations and learnings about system issues, performance, and defect modes. Guest speakers at webinars provide their expertise on reliability issues in the field and how to select the best quality equipment for your new array. Last fall, we conducted a demographic survey of PV Technical Division members to understand who owns what sizes of arrays, from residential to commercial up to small utility scale, issues they have experienced, and topics they would like to focus on in meetings and webinars. We began holding quarterly webinars last fall with guest speakers and office hours to inform our members about quality, reliability, and current and emerging technologies. Our next webinar will be May 8th, and our guest presenter will be PV Evolution Labs, sharing their PV module reliability scorecard. Come join the Photovoltaic Technical Division.
All right. So next up, we have Sarah Towns, our Chief Finance Officer and Zero Emissions Network Director. Sarah.
Everybody, last year's membership meeting, I was singing to you. I don't know how that'll go over on a webinar. So we'll skip the singing this year. But I love the presentations. The only thing that was bothering me was that I couldn't clap. I kind of wanted to clap for Carly and Nico and for Kat and for Ella. I'm kind of a noisy person. Before we jump into the finance, a couple of things. First of all, it is so wonderful. I was looking at the chat while the different speakers were talking, and we have representatives from 5 continents on this meeting. We have multiple participants from Africa. I saw Spain, I saw Argentina, I saw India, a bunch of us in North America. There may be some even that I missed, but that's fantastic, you guys. Very, very inspiring. I love being a part of ASES. And I love working with this team of board and staff. They are fantastic. Okay, also, before I launch into finance, I wanted to respond to what Nico said about storytelling. And ASES has been digging deeper into DEI work, into justice work, basically, in the renewable energy field. And as Carly shared, we're super excited that we got the grant for solar over at Pine Ridge. And I was thinking about what Nico said about storytelling and how that is a creative act. And, you know, history has told a certain story, both factual and emotional, about colonialism and its legacy. And I was thinking when Nico was sharing so heartfully about being a part of telling a whole new story for First Nations here in the United States, and to be a part of that and to speak it and to name it and to create it. So thank you so much, Nico, for a fantastic presentation. Okay, on to finance. Thank you, Ella, for being my slide master. Everybody's seen my blue star that I was so proud of. Now you can go on to the next slide, Ella, if you would. Thank you. So this is just an overview. If you hit full screen, Ella, there might be, I don't know, maybe we don't get the top of the slide. Unimportant. Basically what you're seeing over here is a 10-year overview that, you know, we've kept our reserves. That is the green bars are the reserves. We've kept them quite solid for 10 years, which is wonderful. We have about, I'll show you on the next slide. We have about, not yet though, Ella, we have about 4.5 months worth of operations reserve, and we definitely like to bump that up to 6 months. That would be a bit more comfortable, but it's wonderful that we do have the reserves that we have. As you can see, back in 2017, we finished paying off all our credit card debt under Carly's excellent financial leadership. And the net income, which is the blue bar, you know, that's the reality of life in the nonprofit world. It goes up and it goes down. Some years you have a net positive revenue, and some years you have a net negative revenue. We've been very, very good at predicting our expenses, and you know, revenues are just harder to predict when so many of them are donation based. So we'll keep working with it. Ella, can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, so what you see here is a snapshot of where we're at right now, which is a little over $167,000 in reserve, which is wonderful. At a burn rate minus the large income and outlays of the conference is about $36,000 a month. So that reserve gives us 4.5 months cushion, which as I said, is comfortable, but we'd sure like to have that at least up to 6 months. Profit and loss the last 4 years, 2 years net positive, 2 years net negative. We'd really like to increase our programmatic fundraising by $50,000 this year and in the coming years at least, because that would help nudge us just more solidly in the black. And then of course more to increase those reserves up to 6 months. And you know, the dream would be to have an endowment again one day like we used to have. Okay, Ella, next slide. This is just my encouragement to thank you guys all so much. We get these wonderful notes at the end of the year. You guys give us these little encouraging notes when you send in your end of year donations, or sometimes when you give the roundup donations, and we read them all and we love them all. And as you know, this work would absolutely not be happening without all of you. So you should be proud of your participation in the clean energy revolution. And as CFO, I like to say, if the money doesn't work, nothing works. So thank you so much for financially supporting ASES. That's what I got. See you guys on the Q&A in a little bit.
Thanks, Sarah.
Awesome. We will now have Henry Vandermark. Well, he will be talking about the fundraising updates and opportunities. He is one of our incredible board members and fundraising chair. Hi, Henry. Thank you for hopping on.
Do you turn my video on, or I can't?
Let's see. You should have access. Can you try again?
It says you cannot start your video. But anyways, so I wasn't going to have slides, and I'm going to rely on people's memory because I'm going to be working off of what people said. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Any visual? Not. Oh, there we go.
Now we can see you.
Now you see. Okay.
Awesome.
So I'm the chair of the fundraising committee. I just want to report kind of 3 things. One is our general goals, then upcoming events, and what you can do to help ASES. Now, note, I'm a board member, and while I'm experienced in the solar energy industry, I've been in for 40 plus years. I think it's going like on 46, but we don't count after that. But sort of I'm an amateur at fundraising. So that means we rely on others. So if there are people on this call in the community who would like to make suggestions, please contact me and help us join that committee. Today you've seen ASES has a strong team providing many programs. You saw a very, very small team to do the tour, the conferences, and many more. So we have a board of directors who all commit their time and make a financial contribution. We've kept the dues quite low to keep to reach a larger audience, but dues do not cover all of our expenses, so that we need to get more donations. And our goal now is, as Sarah mentioned, we want to bump that reserve, that cash reserve, up to 6 months to give a stable base for the staff. We want to be able to pay a livable wage and also provide stability for staff providing all these programs. And so that requires something that deals with the whims of funding cycles from conferences and grants, that you need to have some reserve to be able to get through things even without a COVID time period. So the big picture general goal is to have a 6-month reserve and to be able to keep that up. As you saw, if you're here at the meeting, the annual meeting at 2023, we've made a lot of progress on that funding. So we were below that 4-month window beforehand. We currently have this Eclipse fundraiser that you saw in your invitation and that Carly mentioned, so that we'd like you to be able to make a donation if you can. You can either do it directly on the website, or if you want to donate in some other means. Many people use things like donor advised funds or other kinds of donations that we do not necessarily have a checkbox on the website for, but we're happy to accept any kind of donations that can benefit ASES. As Carly mentioned, there's a match going on through this for dollar for dollar match, up to $25,000. Fundraising people like myself, in this case, we have to do this ask, and nobody ever likes to be asked in a way, but in a way, one should like to be asked, and one wants to figure out. I mean, if I'm a donor, I kind of like to think of, and I think we should all figure, what does ASES mean to me, and what's meaningful? So I kind of think, if I can match a meaningful concept with a meaningful gift, like if I can think that what it means to me, then I'm going to give a meaningful gift. Everybody has a different level of meaningfulness or meaningful dollars. So that for some people, $100, some people it's 1,000. So I just would feel more comfortable if our whole community could think of what is meaningful. And if we all chose the groups that we felt that had meaning for us, and we gave them a meaningful gift yearly, we'd do great things in the world. And I think ASES is doing a lot of great things. So I have been putting my effort, and I hope you'd put yours into figuring out what that meaningful level is for you, and consider doing that now while we have this 1-for-1 match, so that it's something that can help build and sustain ASES. So I hope to see you all at the conference, and I hope to see many of you at the fundraiser at the awards dinner. And as Carly also mentioned, there are other ways to contribute at the conference there. There's a climate ride. You can either participate in it or fund sponsor a ASES rider, ASES team member. And just remember that contributions of any size help the organization, and it's a critical place. And I'm glad you're all here. Glad to see the numbers are up for this annual meeting. It's hard to switch to Zoom when we have so many Zoom things, but I'm glad you have a good attendance. Thank you, and be in contact. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Henry. I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to share my screen, and as a wrap, I'll share some fun membership stats and ways to get involved with ASES, and then we'll go into a Q&A. So please be sure, as I'm talking, ask some questions in the Q&A feature near the chat bar, and we will have some time to answer any questions you may have. All right, so with an ASES membership, we have 5 different buckets, I would say. So there's the basic membership, student, professional, life, business, and then library. I guess that's 6. Whoops. And we will go through kind of what our current memberships are. We have about 20,000 members still and going. It's always increasing, which is exciting. Our top 5 states are California, Texas, Arizona, Colorado, and Florida. And I thought this was a cool stat to pull out. So our membership database, of course, provides all the dates of which when someone signs up to become an ASES member. And so they're able to show us, a breakdown of what our membership looks like and how long our members have been with us. So really happy to see, a lot of new people coming in, but then also folks that have been with us for 5 to 9+ years. So very honored and happy that so many people have stuck with us and been with ASES for so long. As you all may know, all ASES members can access low-interest clean energy loans from multiple credit unions committed to providing low-cost financing for clean energy and energy efficiency projects. So we're a field of membership partner with Clean Energy Credit Union, Technology Credit Union, Verity Credit Union, and Credit Human, which is fun. And this means that ASES members are eligible to join these credit unions to use for financing. So if you have any questions, please reach out to membership@ases.org, and I can definitely connect you with the right people to get low interest clean energy loans. This year we celebrated we're at a 2.5 anniversary of the online community, and I encourage you all to check out the following forums that we have available. It's the Everything Solar Forum, the Ask a Renewable Energy Expert Forum. We also have ASES introductions for all the new folks to network, of course, and then we have the Technical Divisions Forums that's open for student, business, life, and professional members. Highly encourage you all to check it out. It's just right on ases.org at the very top of the homepage. You'll see online community, and you can sign in with the same credentials you use to renew your ASES membership. Mentor Match. So through the online community, we launched the Mentor Match program back on November 2022 to further our commitment to our members and their professional development. So this is a unique online networking and career development tool that helps you find, connect, and share experiences with others. So your mentee or mentor can be in the same city or on the other side of the world, which is really incredible. And essentially, we encourage a 6-month or so mentorship relationship. So it's just 1 hour each month to connect with your mentor or mentee. So I highly suggest you all, joining as a mentor or mentee and being involved with ASES and, help help everyone go into the solar and clean energy industry. Next, we have 4 different scholarships. The Don Aitken Memorial Scholarship was founded in 2022 to provide grants to students who wish to pursue a career in renewable energy in our ASES student members, with a preference for active student chapter members and/or chapter interns. as many of you may know, Dr. Donald Aitken served twice as the president of the American Solar Energy Society and was vice president of the International Solar Energy Society as well. He received many awards in his lifetime, and I'm really honored to showcase him as a scholarship with this with the Don Aitken Memorial Scholarship. With the John and Barbara Yellett Award, it's a $500 scholarship that's given to a graduate student that's concentrating on solar energy in a recognized institution of higher learning. And we also have JEDI scholarships, which unfortunately is passed now, but essentially it's providing complimentary registration for our annual conference. So we're excited to have 16 JEDI scholars coming to our conference in May. But please be sure to check out ases.org/scholarships for the JEDI scholarship that'll open up next year for Solar 2025. And then lastly is our new Jean Clark Memorial Scholarship. It provides a $1,000 scholarship annually to a graduate student. And Dr. Eugene Clark was a recognized expert and lifetime advocate of solar energy and active and passive heating, as well as cooling for buildings. So we would love your support in, for money for Jean Clark Memorial Scholarship, and also the forms will be open this year for to apply to the Jean Clark Scholarship. All right, now we'll get into a Q&A. I will go ahead and stop share, or actually I guess I can just go into the Q&A now. Let's see. Please be sure to answer the questions, or please be sure to ask questions in the Q&A. Otherwise, I'll also do some polls as well. Actually, I'm just going to stop sharing because I can't do that. Drew says others, let's see. Drew asked about having an attendee list. I don't think we can at this time just due to privacy policies, but we should be able to, I would encourage you to be on the online community, and maybe we can create a thread on who attended the membership meeting. And I'm going to now do a poll, and please be sure to ask the questions in the chat as well. I'll continue to keep looking, but in the meantime, I'll do some fun polls for everyone. So I have one here that should launch any second now. Just curious to see, how many of you are ASES members. And so you should see that on your screen now, unless it's at the bottom. Oh, there's a lot of people coming in. Great. All right, we'll give it like 20 seconds or so, and I'll be sure to share the results in just a moment. Awesome. Great. And with that being said, I'm going to end the poll. And I can share results. So you guys should see that we have 83% of everyone here is an ASES member. Thank you so much. And 15% aren't, but hopefully will be. You're welcome to join at ases.org/join. And with that being said, I have another question. So I'm going to stop sharing and ask you another one in just a moment. So as I believe Carly said, I need to go back. There we go. Our parent organization is the International Solar Energy Society, and so I'm curious to see if you guys are also members of that as well. So I'm just going to put that in the chat. Just a moment. Save. All right, it should launch right now. Are you an ASES member? And if not, you are welcome to go to ASES. I hope I'm saying it right. Let me double check. ASES, yes, just ISES.org to join as well. And also business members automatically get registered to be a member as well. So ASES business members can be ASES members. Awesome. I'm going to end the poll in just a moment. And ending poll, sharing results. So as we can see, 14 people are members of ASES, and then around 86% aren't. I encourage you all to join ASES as well. They're an incredible parent company, and yeah. All right. I'm looking at the Q&A now. Ken Nadsati says, is there a need for guest article content? Kat, would you like to share that or answer that question?
You can pitch Solar Today articles to me anytime by writing to me at kfriedrich@ases.org. Send a couple paragraphs along with the 1-paragraph bio for the author.
Awesome. Thanks so much. All right. And David Scally Jr. says, not sure if I'm a member. Can we post sign up links here, please? Oh, it says, Carly, would you like to answer that question? Oh, you're mute.
You can join at ases.org/join.
Awesome. Great. And Ken also says, did you say that ASES business members are automatically registered as ASES members? Yes, so that is a benefit to all business and nonprofit members as well. So I would definitely encourage you all to become business members. We have a great relationship with ASES, and essentially once you register as a business member, once a month I send your contact information to ASES and they register you all manually. Awesome. Robert says, is there a person or group who can analyze my solar system / equipment to ensure it is performing correctly? That's a great question. My first thought would be to ask this question to our technical divisions. I know Carly had a great presentation on the 8 divisions that we have, and they'll be able to, provide some suggestions there. We don't have like physical people that could come out in person to analyze, but we have such a great extensive network who I'm sure would be happy to, and I would encourage you to post on the online community, and potentially that could be a great option. Or Carly, do you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would start by looking at your electricity bill, just to review to see how much the solar is producing. You can also, if you have an app that monitors your inverter, look at the inverter as well. Make sure your panels are clean, look for any debris or obstacles that could be causing any problems. And I think the first go-to should be your installer. Ask your installer to come out and do some performance analysis. But outside of that, there are system monitoring tools that can be put on your system.
Awesome. Drew had some questions around gross annual income and percent of income in memberships. Sarah, the CFO, I know you already answered it, but if you could just share that with the rest of the members here, that would be great.
Hi, Drew and everybody. Yeah, the average is around 600,000 income and 600,000 expenses, a little bit less on expenses because we overall are running in the black. So that's a very general answer. I mean, every year goes up and down, and some years those numbers are inflated by the CECU income because we've been the fiscal sponsor for them. So the income goes through us to them. But, a good average is 600,000 in and a little less than that out. A short answer to what could be a very long question. Drew, I hope that hits the spot for now.
Awesome. Looking at some other questions. Yeah, Rich just said the PV technical divisions can help people troubleshoot. So yes, they are incredible. And thank you, Rich, for being an awesome vice chair. Looking at other questions. Jill, I know you said your professional membership supports ASES. I may have misspoken. It's the business membership. But I would encourage you to join as a business member to also get an ASES membership as well. looking at some other questions. Someone just asked where they can sign up for the climate walk/ride. I'm just going to put it in the chat right now. All right. Feel free to continue doing the Q&A, but in the meantime, I'm going to do another poll. So let me just grab that. Stop sharing. And Carly, Kat, and Sarah, feel free, if I'm missing a question or not, feel free to yeah, speak up and ask. Okay. All right, our next question is about our upcoming National Solar Tour. So that should be coming up in just a moment. The question is whether or not you are planning on participating, either as an attendee or a host. As mentioned, the National Solar Tour this year will be taking place October 4th through 6th, and signups are open at nationalsolartour.org. Wait a few seconds there. Awesome. All right.
Elaine asked how many people are on this call. Earlier, we had over 100 people joining us. Currently, we have about 85.
Awesome. That is great. So we just got over 55% of people are planning on attending or participating in the National Solar Tour. So that's amazing. And then my next question is whether or not folks are going to join our conference, either in person or virtually, on May 20th through 23rd in Washington, D.C. So I will have that launch in just a moment. Okay, it should come up in just a second. All right, would love to hear your thoughts on that. It's just less than 2 months away, so I'm very excited to see you all in person. You guys are quick. Oh my goodness. I just saw 70% of you guys are planning on coming. I'll share the results. I know the percentage keeps moving, but I'll end the poll in just a few seconds. Awesome. All right, I'm about to end the poll and we'll share results. It looks like 60% of you all are planning on joining the conference, either in person or virtually. So thank you all so much. I'm so excited to see you all. Great. Debbie Coleman just asked, here, 1 second. She said, I heard there was a school art challenge. Can you mention that? Yes, of course. Let me get the link up shortly. I just want to make sure I'm sharing everything correctly on that. All right. So essentially what we'll be doing, and we've launched it about a week or two ago, students K through 12 are invited to submit a photo of their art that highlights clean energy and sustainability using our solar workbook templates. I'll put it in the chat. And we developed a solar energy workbook that will help you and the students learn about solar energy in an enjoyable way with coloring pages, worksheets, and a project to build a 3D solar house, which is really cool. And so I'll put that in the chat right here. And the winning entry will receive a $200 prize and will be displayed at our upcoming conference, Solar 2024, in Washington, D.C. The deadline is Earth Day, Monday, April 22nd. So please email your submissions or any questions at info@ases.org, and we appreciate your participation. And Carly, do you want to add to anything there?
Um, yeah, you can find a copy of the PDF of the coloring book under our resources.
So, okay. Someone or Zeta just asked, what is the cost of a climate ride or walk? It's completely free. So we would love for you to join. It's as simple as registering. I'll put it in the chat as well. But yeah, it's free, and we encourage you all to help fundraise and help support our mission of just around $100 or so, but there's not a requirement or anything. But yeah, it's completely free to join us. I'll put it in the chat right now. All right, I know we have about 9 more minutes left. Am I missing any questions, Sarah, Kat, Carly?
I think you've got everything. Oh, I see the Q&A has, just a second, I see some questions in the Q&A.
I think hard to multitask. Let me see. Taraku says does the photovoltaic division provide an online training? So Rich hosts quarterly webinars, and it is some sort of training, but it's different topics each time. So I encourage you to join their webinar. It's on our webinars page, like all the dates and everything. So I'll put that in the chat as well, so you can register. Mary says, can anyone participate in the climate ride from their location if they cannot attend? Yes. Yeah, you can join us virtually as well. So feel free to sign up. Yeah, we definitely encourage virtual climate ride walkers or bike riders. Moses asks, can you speak about accommodations for the conference? Yes. So we have a visitor's guide that will show, all the things to do around Washington, D.C., including like the must know, getting around, food and drinks, and just the overall campus and conference room maps. And we also have our hotel discounts right on ases.org/conference. So I'll put that in the chat as well, hotel links. So yeah, we have discounted hotels for you to sign up for. Hotel.
The hotels that we have room blocks for are the Hotel Hilton Arlington and the Holiday Inn National Airport.
So Elaine just asked, Drew mentioned in the chat plans for 2025. Where is the conference in 2025? And do we have plans yet? Carly, do you want to answer that?
Yes, we will be back in Boulder next year in June 2025. And still narrowing down the dates, but it's going to be right around the summer solstice. So late June 2025. Stay tuned. We're really excited to have you.
Awesome. Mark Euler, you said policy in the question. Do you mind maybe typing in the chat or in the Q&A what you mean, or what we can hopefully answer for you? All right. Anything else? We can give some time back as well. But Carly, Kat, Sarah, any Anything else?
See you in DC.
What she said.
Awesome.
Thanks for all of your support of ASES. We really appreciate it.
Great. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, thank you all so much for your time, and please be sure to reach out to us with any questions, suggestions, feedback at membership@ases.org. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you virtually or in person in May. All the information can be found at ases.org. And yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.